It's that time of the year again. It's time for the Gone with the Wind Awards, 2021/2022 year. It's the third annual one, regardless, and now is the time to get your nominations in. Thanks to our pals at Google. Not sponsored, I just used Google for this. But I'll be dropping the link down below for you all to vote and tell us your thoughts on what is the best of this crazy year that we've had. I'm looking forward to hearing them. But this is the official announcement of the Gone with the Wind Awards, third annual. So basically everything from last year, from let's say The Invisible Man, to the end of this year, such as I Care a Lot. Something along those lines should give you a better representation. Thank you all again, and I can't wait to see your votes for the Gone with the Wind Awards. Oh, and Promising Young Woman just won WGA, which, look out for that winning screenplay. Saying it right here, right now. On to the show!
He's looking at you, kid. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
I'll have what she's having.
Boss will be with you, always.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
The Oscar nominations are here, and we have thoughts. This is Gone with the Wind. Cue the music. There's a fly that was in my room. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Cue the music. Whack.
Okay. Music. That's the clapper.
Have to keep that.
And like, clap. Cue the music. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Gone with the Wind. I'm your host, Manning Frank, the host of the award show about, It's not an intro unless I get it wrong the first time. Hey, everybody. This is Manning, the host of Gone with the Wind, the show about award shows where we talk about, you guessed it, award shows. Welcome again, one and all. I'm here with a panel. We are currently ableist today, but we have with me Malcolm. He's below me.
Hello.
In the little boxes we have next to me, we have Dan.
Can't wait to get into it. Can't wait to get into it.
We talked about it a little bit. Now, for those who didn't watch, for Oscar morning on Monday, we kind of had a live reaction, had a quick talk before we all either went to bed or we went to work that day. So we kind of talked a little bit about what our reactions were, what our thoughts were in regards to it. And before we begin, I had the opportunity to represent Gone with the Wind on another show. Ramble on about movies. So I wanted to represent that and shout them out as well too. Thank you for having me on, guys. Dan and Eric. So I appreciate you guys. And you can watch that episode that I was on, talk about the Oscars as well. For way too long, we rambled on about movies. So check that there at the PJ Campbell Network. But anyway, thank you guys again for joining on this episode of Gone with the Wind. Today we're going to be going over the Oscar nominations a little more in depth than we did a little bit prior. So Dan and Malcolm, you guys ready to get right into it?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Then let's get started. Okay, so you saw our fresh and raw reactions, and you can kind of tell I'm not as hyped today. I'm tired, so I'm kind of in my sweats today right now. So it's gonna be one of those days, guys. What is are you guys? Because I know Malcolm, you just woke up, so are you ready to take on the day? Or are you still tired?
I'm ready to take on the day, as always.
Okay, perfect. Can I have your energy? I need it. Okay, but anyway, all right. So the Oscar nominations occurred on Monday, and outside of a couple of large surprises, some smaller surprises, there were kind of some of the things we expected. So, but before we begin, do you all have your Gold Derby up? Or if not, could you get it up for me?
Yeah, I didn't have it up, but I can definitely get it.
That is okay. Then I will go first, because we're going to go over what our scores were ultimately. We don't know what Abe's was, but for Gold Derby, there were some big ones that we kind of had in, and there were some times where we weren't able to predict it completely. I don't think there was any. Did anyone get any like the big four? Like, did anyone get director, picture, actress, or actor perfect?
No, because somebody convinced me to kick some things out and put some people in, and
I wonder who that was.
And then I didn't get. I would have gotten 5 for 5 on actress and probably actor if I hadn't kicked people out.
Yes, no. Whoopsies. My Mank prediction was very wrong. But in my defense, the steam was lost, but apparently it managed to get 10 nominations in total. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over each specific category and going over how many we managed to get in comparison to what we actually got at the end of the day. So we're going to start off real fast, and we're going to see how well we exactly did. So Dan, since you already have it up, tell us how did you do percentage wise?
I'm 73%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know you're better than me, Manny. So
I was not going to say that. I just wanted to know what everyone was percentage wise.
73%.
Okay. And Malcolm, how did you do?
I did 67%.
Okay. And I was also managed to get 79%. However, we have no idea what on earth Abe has. So for all we know, Abe could have gotten 98% and we would be completely shocked. But I have no idea what he got. Highly doubt that is the case. But what I was going to say is we all no one, it's very few people. Like if you look back some of the percentage, some of the highest ranking people that include critics were not able to predict this 100%. And in fact, they didn't do as hot either for some of these, but that's okay because they're very unpredictable beasts. And today the Oscars had some great nominations and some fantastic picks. Before we begin real fast, Dan, was there any like nomination that stood out to you as like, wow, this is my favorite nomination of the day?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought I was really happy that Paul Raci got in Best Supporting Actor, because I really do believe without him, opposite Riz Ahmed, you don't get the performance from Riz Ahmed. Maybe the director kind of coaxed that in, but also probably his knowledge dealing with the deaf community. Paul Raci had, I believe, deaf parents or something like that. I'm not sure, but I heard something along those lines. And maybe that helped him really give a much better performance. This guy's been around for years. Nobody ever heard of the guy. These are the kind of things I love about the Academy Awards. You get these nobodies who come out of nowhere, and I've already talked about it before. Gabri Sidibe, Barkhad Abdi. You get these this year, Paul Raci. So to me, it's fantastic. And also, I was happy to see Thomas Vinterberg get in there. That was kind of a surprise. It was a pleasant surprise.
No, that's probably might be one of mine as well too. Malcolm, for you, what was the nominations before we get into the nitty gritty that for you truly just like wowed you and just kind of made you feel all warm and fuzzy inside?
I mean, like for me, there wasn't really a lot of like surprising ones for me. I think, like for me, one of the surprising ones that did happen that I was excited about because it meant Crude's A New Age wasn't going to be nominated. Is that Shaun the Sheep Farm again getting in?
Malcolm, no. Why did you remind me?
Nobody wants to see Shaun the Sheep in there.
I need to go. Okay,
I'm
officially.
It's a good movie.
No, I'm joking. Just nobody had it. That's but I think you're right though. You said about the stop motion animation. They always try to fit one of those in every year, and they do love. Aardman gets in all the time. Malcolm, you're absolutely right. You on the predictions show that we did. You were like, keep an eye out for Shaun the Sheep or Farmageddon. Bam, boy, you were right on that one.
You were right on the money for that one, and we'll talk about a little more exactly when we get to that category in particular. And for me, I guess one of my favorite nominations, it's very small, but I'm just kind of glad since Paul Raci was taken. Another one that I was incredibly excited about at the end of the day, and I knew that this was going to happen. It's not really a big shock, but at the end of the day, Maria Bakalova making it in is just. Through all of this, because if she missed in a day, I would not have been overtly shocked because the supporting actress category is crazy. It's utterly bonkers. I'm excited that she made it in because I love it when comedy performers can make it into a respective category. So I'm excited to see what she can do in the future and what this means not only for the movie but kind of like in general for just what she has in store for all of us. But all right. Y'all ready to get in on these nominations?
Yep.
Boom. Let's do it, guys. All right. So, best live action short, we have The Letter Room, The Human Voice, Two Distant Strangers, The Present, and Da Yai. So, I got 3 out of 5. Not my best showing, I will say. Okay, so for you, Malcolm, tell me a little more about how did you do? How many did you get out of this one?
I also got 3 out of 5.
Hey, okay, cool. And Dan, how'd you do?
3 out of 5.
Okay, this is kind of what you're gonna see basically a lot, I'm guessing, in all these categories. For this one in particular, and you have the letter room, Two Distant Strangers, The Present. I'm curious as to see are the ones we know that got in. Hold on, this is only telling me what I had and not what actually happened. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I've got the Oscar nominations, extra
Please.
nominations up. Yeah, so the ones that got through was Failing Through, The Letter Room, The Present, Two Distant Strangers, and White Eye.
Yes, thank you. That's why I was about to say, wait a minute, this isn't right because this is my own predictions.
Yeah,
going
because I was about to say Diane didn't make it.
No, it didn't. Because I know I about to say we predicted that.
But it did have Tilda Swinton in it, so I'll probably watch.
Did. Okay, so all right. No, that's Paul Raci. Where did it go? Up. Whoopsies. Okay. All right. So, but what I was saying is that okay. So, not as we're gonna go move on past that. I think I'm gonna be real. I think this might be the letter room or bust because merely it has Oscar Isaac in it, and this one could change. But the shorts don't really have precursors. It's kind of like what is your gut feeling? My gut feeling is Oscar Isaac.
I did see Two Distant Strangers, and it's really good.
Ooh, where do we see it?
I got a screener.
Oh, okay. I'm curious as how they make these available because usually sometimes in theaters they will have like these are all the Oscar nominated shorts to come see. Where are they gonna have that? I'm just curious, or how they're gonna have that.
It's, when you're a film critic, you get access to things sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other one that could have a shot at this is probably the Pedro Almodovar directed one as well.
And which one is that again? Just remind me.
I do not know.
Dan, do you know which one's the Pedro Almodovar one?
I forget. I thought it was the one that didn't get nominated, but I could be wrong.
Is it?
The Human Voice. I thought that was the Pedro Almodovar one.
It was a Human Voice.
Yeah, so
well,
that got in.
Wow, it missed.
Tilda Swinton.
Wow. Okay, well, this one right now that we are going into Best Documentary Short. Best Documentary Short are as follows. Make sure I'm looking at the actual ones and not my own. Best Documentary Short Subject is Colette, A Concerto for a Conversation, Do Not Split, Hunger Ward, and A Love Song for Latasha. How many did I managed to get 4 actually out of this one. How were you guys?
I also got 4.
I got 3.
Did you all have abortion helpline? This is Lisa because that's what I had.
I don't know. I can't keep both pages up on my phone. I could only keep one, so I switched back to the actual ones that got nominated. So I don't know.
Okay, that is okay because go ahead, Malcolm.
Yeah, no, like I remember Abe saying in a past year that quite often they sometimes go for the cool names.
They do
because I think that was the year that the movie about periods in Descendants made it in. And I think there was that I maybe had predicted that because going there's like, well, I mean, it's got a cool name. The Oscars generally go for cool names.
I will tell you, Malcolm, that year a lot of people were predicting period end of sentence, but also that was a Netflix documentary, and they got a lot. They were pushing that big time, that one. And when they won, the girl gets up there and starts talking. I can't believe a movie about women's periods won an Academy Award. So it turned out to be one of the best speeches as well that night. So it ended up having a good story. Period end of sentence did. So.
Yes, it was incredible. It was a great quality short. But I actually was able to watch. I'm like 2.5. I'm almost done with Colette. I was literally just watching Colette, taking a break from everything I had to do today. Just kind of watch Colette because these are all, I believe, available, save for Hunger Ward. I'm not sure where to find that one, but all of them are available on YouTube. So everyone just go to YouTube and search for them. You can find Do Not Split. You can find Colette. You can find Love Song for Latasha is actually available on Netflix. And then you also find Concerto for a Conversation is also available on YouTube. So just search those up to be able to watch those. Do Not Split. Look out for that one because it is about the Hong Kong protests that transpired this past year. So look out for that, because I know that China is currently telling their media partners in the area, or partners, they're not partners. Sorry, China, we know who you are. They are currently telling them to not live telecast the Oscars because this documentary is currently nominated, and I could see this winning because of the outrage that has been coming along those lines. Because Do Not Split is also a fantastic on-the-ground documentary about those protests that occurred. So I recommend you all go out to see Do Not Split. Colette's also incredibly a great tearjerker. I have about 5 minutes left in it. It's like 24 minutes. It's very, very good. Heartbreaking, truly, as you go through this particular woman. This French woman goes back to Germany. She was a French Revolution fighter. Her brother died during World War II when he was rounded up by the Nazis. And now she's returning to Germany to see, I believe, where he was. And then finally, the other one I saw was Concerto is a Conversation, which is a beautiful film by The Guardian. I believe it's The Guardian. No, it's New York Times Op Docs. So that's a great one where the youngest, well, not the youngest, but one of the youngest composers out there at 29 years old. He did the music for Green Book, actually, a young black man who is the composer for that. And it goes along the concerto that he wrote, I believe, in tandem with his grandfather. And it goes about his story, and it finds the parallels between this grandfather's story from where he hitchhiked from Florida to California to start a new life, as well as what that means for him in the present day. So it's another three great documentaries. I will let you know when I've seen the other two, when I find Hunger Ward, and then I might get to finally watch A Love Song for Latasha. But I wanted to present those to you guys because I want to try to go out of my way to find those. So I'd recommend you guys go see those as soon as you can, because they're almost all on YouTube. All right, best animated short we have. I'll have to look at mine again. Best animated short, we have Burrow, Genius Loci. Oh dear. If Anything Happens, I Love You, Opera, and Yes People. I had 3 out of 5 for this one, and that sounds about right for you guys. Same.
Same, yeah.
And I saw 2 of these. So I saw If Anything Happens, I Love You, which is very good, and Burrow, which is on Disney Plus. If you haven't seen that.
Yes.
Anything Happens, I Love You is on Netflix.
Oh, is it? Oh, perfect. Then I know what I'm going to watch also along with A Love Song for Latasha. All right.
Not at the same time, I hope.
Oh, absolutely. One on each screen that I have. It'll be like,
yeah.
Can you do that?
I mean, one thing I'm surprised is that the other Disney short that was not that was on the shortlist did not make it out.
Yeah,
that's actually a good observation.
Usually those get in because they're on the front of some big time Disney movie and everybody sees them, so they become popular. But obviously that one didn't get in. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if well, that's the thing. I don't know if either of them did, because they were both done for Disney Plus. So it's good. It's going to be one of those interesting things. Maybe they thought Disney didn't need multiple nominations.
Yeah, probably. And they picked the best one, Burrow.
And I was imagining them being like, "No, we love you, not that much."
that now I can't hear that without imagining rain night.
You're like, all right. Anyway, all right. Best documentary feature. We have Collective, Crip Camp, The Mole Agent, My Octopus Teacher, and Time. I'm still sad Boy State did not make it in, because that was a fantastic documentary. But I'm going to make my way through the documentaries as soon as I possibly can to let you guys know what I think of them. What are your thoughts on this documentary lineup? There's no big, because I feel like Time has been the big one so far that's been ahead of everything else.
I'll be honest with you. Man, I saw Time, man. It was like, it's like, okay, all right, it's this family, this woman who's trying to raise her kids and work and everything while her husband's in jail, and at the end, her husband gets out of jail, and they go on with their life. It's to me, My Octopus Teacher is the one to see in this, but I've seen them all, and the one to see is My Octopus. It's one of the most beautiful films you will see all year long. It's got a gorgeous cinematography. It's just how they're able to do this with cameras, get this close to this wildlife and this. I can't say enough about My Octopus Teacher, but I've seen all of them. So I mean, that's the one I would pick. But what do I know?
Does BAFTA have a documentary feature? I can't remember now. All of a sudden,
BAFTA. Shoot.
I think it does, because I think that's when we started first talking about My Octopus Teacher.
yes. Okay, yes. So they definitely do, and this year I'm about to find out right now, because last year Apollo 11 was nominated in there, but not for the Oscars.
Stupid, man.
They're definitely doing something. All right, so the BAFTA ones were Collective, David Attenborough, A Life on Our Planet, which I'm assuming definitely a lot more of a British film than I think Americans would like. The Dissident, My Octopus Teacher, and My Social Dilemma. Look out for Collective, maybe possibly taking it, because it's nominated both foreign language film.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, oh my God, The Dissident. Wow. Wow, how fascinating is The Dissident? And what was the other one? Social Dilemma, another one that's very good. But that's the Baptist. That's Baptist. It's not. But those are actually pretty good ones, and I'm surprised neither one of them made it on this list. But yeah, I mean, I've seen Crip Camp, Mole Agent, Time, but the one to me that I think is the best is My Octopus Teacher. But Collective, because it's gotten multiple nominations, and it's in foreign film, right? Collective's in foreign film.
It is. It is.
That could bode well for it, right?
It could. It shows that there's a lot of love in that, and maybe people see Collective and they go watch it and like, hey, I gotta go see this now.
Yeah.
I actually saw My Octopus Teacher the day after we had the nominations, and it brought. I never knew an octopus could make me cry. It make me cry like that. Just being able to see what it does. I need to. If it wins BAFTA, then look out for that. If Collective wins, look out for that, basically. Or if something else wins, who knows? Who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna move on now. Oops, where did it go? This is like All right, best international film. We have another round. Collective. Oh boy, ready for my I'm gonna try to pronounce this the best I can. I apologize to everyone in advance. We have Kyo Vadis Aida.
That's as good as you can get right there.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Better Days. The Man Who Sold His Skin, which I had no idea that was an actual movie until the Oscar nominations announced there.
This is
what was that, Dan?
This is another round. If another round doesn't win this, it's like, come on, give me a break here.
I'd be shocked, because this has, as we'll talk about later, managed to get 2 Oscar nominations, and one was for the second highest prize, which was Best Director. So I'd be shocked if it wasn't another round. What could it be? I guess Collective, if it sweeps both, international and documentary, but I really don't see that happening. What about you, Malcolm?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is another rounds to lose, but this is one of those ones that it wouldn't surprise me that if it ends up going Collective's way as well, and we get a surprise like Thomas Vinterberg wins Best Director or something.
Whoa,
that's
bold.
That's a hot take, Malcolm. Hey, remember last year, guys? Honeyland got into both categories, and guess what? It only won one.
That's true. It won a foreign language film, or did it win?
It didn't. It won documentary because Parasite won foreign language film.
Well, didn't American Factory win last year?
Oh, maybe it did. Did Parasite not get in documentary?
No, Parasite got in. You mean
international feature?
Parasite won international feature.
Oh, maybe Honeyland didn't win that.
I think I'm pretty sure American Factory got won Best Documentary last year. I don't think Honeyland did.
It did.
Honeyland went 0.
Obama's produced that about the Chinese glass factory in Ohio. I saw that.
That movie.
Yeah. Oh, so Honeyland didn't win nothing. So keep an eye out for that.
Did Obama's produce any of the documentaries that are nominated this year?
Yes.
Did, not one of these, was it? Oh, Crip Camp.
Yes.
Crip Camp.
So, yep. 2 for 2, maybe.
Oh wow, yeah. Crip Camp was interesting. It's on Netflix, I think, too. So
It's also on Netflix, so I'll give that one a try as well too. With that and Octopus Teacher, or My Octopus Teacher, Netflix is having a good day.
yeah, and Time is on Amazon Prime.
Yes. And Collective is also available to rent from Amazon and from any other place as well.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, pay. Yeah, you have to pay for Collective.
Yeah, it's renting. It's so.
I'm convinced they put Time on Amazon Prime just for the rhyme.
You can now watch Time only on Amazon Prime. I love it. It's Dr. Seuss, but in modern times. All right. So next one we have over here. Oh, where to go? I have too many tabs up. Next one that we have is where to go? We have. I'm going off the Gold Derby one. So just so everyone knows. Next one we have Best Animated Feature, which is Soul, Wolfwalkers, Over the Moon, Onward, and Shaun the Sheep Farm again.
So we all got 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Malcolm got 5. I don't know.
No, I got 4 because I wasn't convinced at the time to switch out the crudes for Shaun.
Okay.
I would be shocked if you were like, yes, I'm gonna go with it, because I thought it was forgotten.
Malcolm, you should have just lied and said, "Yeah, nobody would know."
We believed you.
We did believe you. We were on the pre-show, and you were like, "Don't be surprised if Shaun the Sheep gets in." But yeah,
Much to my chagrin.
this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just
loved Onward, Malcolm, too.
Go ahead.
yeah.
Ryan.
I mean, I was the same. Like, I thought it was forgotten because it wasn't really getting on it anywhere. But I think there's partly because of the confusing release time for Shaun the Sheep, because it was released the year before, but in other countries, but it was supposed to come out theatrically in the States in 2020, and it was just randomly thrown onto Netflix. And from what I've heard from some people didn't know it was there until they were recommended, like, do you want to watch Shaun the Sheep Farm again?
Oh.
I remember you. I think you told me that it was on Netflix to view right when the nominations or something happened, or someone told me recently, and I was like, wait, it's on Netflix?
I didn't know it was on Netflix.
I know. It's news to me. But all right, so after next best animated feature, also at this point, this is the Soul with a Wolfwalkers upset, like out of nowhere. So
yeah, that'd be my guess. If Wolfwalkers pulls this off, wow.
Yeah, I know, that'd be amazing. All right, so best visual effects, we have Tenet. Oh, this is also another one I did really, really bad in. Only got 3. I had Tenet, Mulan, and The Midnight Sky. Surprised, not a lot of love for Welcome to Chechnya, but instead of Welcome to Chechnya, we had where did it go? We had the one and only Ivan and Love and Monsters for a surprise nomination. Did anyone have Love and Monsters?
No, I only got 2 out of the 5.
Yeah, this was felt very random, honestly.
I got 3, but when you really think about it, though, they went with movies that actually had visual effects, like gorillas, talking animals, monsters, giant monsters. So it kind of like, I think they kind of went in the right direction with these 5, because if you look at them, they're all different kinds of visual effects, different visual effects, more realistic, more animated, more monsters, more computer animated. So they were different. They weren't all like the same type of visual effects. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do.
The Midnight Sky is space, and then the stuff that, I mean, just all kinds of weird stuff that's not there.
Yeah, I do wish that Welcome to Chechnya, from everything that I've heard, the technology that they use to really digitize people's faces or changed up, I think that's revolutionary in what can be done. I need to see it, obviously. but I would love to be able to see that used, and I think that's a great use of that medium. But I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, and it could not look great.
Yeah, it might
Yeah,
not.
I mean, for me, I was surprised that one of the superhero movies didn't slide in here. Like I know Bloodshot and Birds of Prey were on the shortlist.
Well,
But and I think they both would have been deserving for visual effects.
I'll be honest with you, Malcolm. When you said Bloodshot last week on the I thought to myself, I remembered the visual effects, and they were interesting, but they're obviously fake. It was obviously fake visual effects. And if you look at these other films, the visual effects didn't look fake. They looked good. Where you thought the monsters might have been real, or you thought the gorilla was a real gorilla talking and dog talking and all. I mean, the visual effects in Bloodshot kind of look a little wonky. If you ask me, I'm just saying. So that's why.
Yeah, I was about to say it. I thought the same as watching One and Only Ivan. It took me out of there because I thought the animals really did not look real.
Okay, all right, that's
And
fine.
I have seen neither of those films. Love and Monsters feels like that one. There's always a visual documentary, one that comes out of nowhere, and Love and Monsters feels like it fits that bill quite often. But then again, so does the one and only Ivan, because Lord knows no one remembers either of those two films this past year.
One and Only Ivan's on Disney Plus. 11 Monsters you can rent on Vudu or anywhere. Maybe they went with the box office of Love and Monsters. That thing made a lot of money off of VOD.
Did it?
And Vudu and all that stuff. So maybe a lot of people, and it already went out on physical media. You could have already bought the 4K or the Blu-ray or whatever. So maybe it made a pile of money, and they looked at the box office or how much money it made. And said, look at all the money this movie. Maybe we'll give it a visual effects nod for that, for the fact that it made a bunch of money. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it depends on. It's one of those ones like studios haven't been sort of releasing how the figures for a lot of their movies match in 2020 anyway, like they would normally report for box office reasons.
Yeah.
So
No.
I don't know.
No, you're right, and I'm curious to see how, like, what the box office, or quote unquote the box office, has been for these films, and if I need to look back to see what the Visual Effects Society managed to give the nominations for their actual thing, because usually there's some correlation with a little bit of discrepancy. Maybe they gave something to One and Only Ivan as well too in Love and Monsters. I didn't look at that as much as I should have, and maybe that would have a good telling moment. Maybe they wouldn't just go directly with, like, let's say they wouldn't just go directly with the Birds of Prey. Maybe they wanted to go with the One and Only Ivan or something, but I don't know. All right. Now we have Best Sound. We have, with sound in the title, Sound of Metal, Mank, Greyhound, News of the World, and of course we have, not last spot, Soul. Okay, can anyone find for me, do some investigation, when's the last time an animated film made it into a sound category?
Malcolm, you're good at
Be
that.
it mixing or editing, either one. I'm curious as to when the last time an animated film managed to do that, because that in and of itself is fantastic, and it makes me want to go back and listen to the sound that Soul has in comparison to any other animated film. What are your thoughts on this category that is right here? Also, can I just say, I knew they were going to go with Greyhound. It's too much of a showy. It's way too much of a showy war film. Go ahead, Dan.
I want to know: was there a lot of green screen? Was the ocean real? Was it? I want to know: was the ocean real? Were they actually in the ocean doing these all this stuff? Because if it wasn't real, they made the ocean sound great. It sounded like the waves rushing up on the ships and stuff. That was great sound, if you ask me. But if it wasn't real, then forget about what I just said. And then Mank, the reason why I think they got Mank in there is because they made, and I just recently watched Mank again today. I finished watching it just before this, like 2 hours ago, and they make it sound like a movie that takes place back in the 1940s. It just sounds like that movie. So to me, that's an achievement. Of course, we all know how Amazing Sound of Metal is, and that's if you don't pick that to win, you're making a mistake, in my opinion. But that is so. If you look at the sound category, there are kind of some interesting reasons why these movies specifically made it into this category.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think Sound of Metal is the perfect example. I said this on the other on the guest on Ramble On About Movies, but sound is as just much about the use of sound when it comes to not using it.
Yep.
And Sound of Metal does that in spades. I truly, 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 truly believe that they knew exactly when to use sound and exactly when not to use sound. And besides, it has sound in the title.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, I'd be shocked. Yes, Malcolm?
Last time an animated movie got into best sound, it was in the mixing category, 2010. Can you guess what movie it was?
Toy Story 3.
Yep.
Interesting. Wow. It's been a while then.
That was what they
Okay.
category into two, but now they added it back together to be
Do
one.
Okay, so do we think it makes it into? You said you got into sound mixing. You said Toy Story 3, or the sound editing.
Toy Story 3 got into sound mixing only.
Okay.
Sound editing only.
Oh, sound editing only. That makes more sense actually, because there's not really much to mix in a computer digital device.
Before that,
Yes.
in 2008, Wall-E made it into both sound categories.
Nope, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's Ben Burt. So bow down to Ben Burt.
Yeah.
And Ratatouille has also did that too.
What was that?
Ratatouille, the year before Ratatouille was in both sound categories as well.
Oh wow, I did not know that. Man, it did a lot better than I thought when it comes to like animated features and getting in. You were gonna say something, Dan?
Yeah, I think the reason why Soul gets in is if you listen closely to Soul, there's a lot of background noise, street cars driving by, people walking, people talking on the back, and a lot of that kind of stuff in the background. And that's why they got into sound, because they did a great job of just putting all those extra sounds in there to make it like a busy street, a busy city, and so forth. I don't know. That's just my guess.
And you're right, because also they had to create an entirely new soundscape for the afterlife that they were in, and being able to create that ethereal feeling. I think they did a fantastic job. So I think it's very, very warranted, but also really, really cool to see. But at this point, come on.
Yeah.
Sound of Metal.
Sound
it
of
has
Metal.
to be.
Yeah.
It has to be Sound of Metal.
Check that box, folks. Check that box.
Check it unless something else happens. Check it. Best song, we have The Life Ahead. Wait. Yes. Wait. This is wrong. 1 second. I'm at the wrong. I'm on my thing again. I keep making that mistake. All right.
But that one did get in regardless.
It did. It did get it. Regardless, it managed to make it in. So yay. Good for me. We have EOC Scene from The Life Ahead. Speak Now from One Night in Miami. Husavic from Eurosong Contest Story of Fire Saga. Hear My Voice from Trial of Chicago 7. Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah. So Husavic managed to make it in. Congratulations. Now, I will say, this is something I also said on the other podcast I guested on. This is Diane Warren we're talking about. Diane Warren has been nominated for a dozen Oscars. So look out for that.
And our boy, Roger Deakins, with 17 tries, finally wins. They remember stuff like this. And I think it's Diane Warren's time. I think you're right. I
hope so.
That Golden Globe was a really good clue to say, up at Diane Warren's time. Give Life Ahead an award, and yep, there you go.
I mean, the other thing which they could go is Leslie Odom Jr. could take this if he doesn't win supporting.
Yeah, but we thought that for Golden Globes too. Remember that.
Well, I mean, it's one of those ones like this. Like, I will argue the Golden Globes and the Oscars are different bodies, so it is. So I think it's probably more likely that kind of thing will happen in the Oscars than it is for the Golden Globes. Really,
agreed.
And also, this is one of the categories I went 5 for 5 in.
Oh,
yeah. What was the other song from Borat? I had Borat's song.
I had
Wuhan Flu.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I had in there.
Yeah, I mean that's what I didn't think would have made it in because I thought they just would be too on the nose.
Well, I also had Fight for Democracy. So I went 3 for 5 that song.
I must say, also look out also possibly for maybe like Fight for You from Judas the Black Messiah possibly getting it as well too. That's something else to look out for. But I think Speak Now or Scene is something
Those are
EOC
the two. It's going to be one of them two. And that
has
could
to be.
come down to the day before the Academy Awards for me to pick which one, because I mean I might change my pick 5 times between now and then. Who knows?
Facts.
What was nominated at the Globes for Best Song? Because Husavik, I know Husavik wasn't, but I think there was
It
something.
was the one from the song from Billie Holiday, or United States versus Billie Holiday. What was it called again?
Tigers and Trees.
What, Tigers and Tweed? Yep.
Thank you. That's the one that was also nominated, but that didn't have a great showing at all. Besides for one big one.
Well, Andra Day gets in. You think, okay, well, we'll put her song in, just like that would correlate well, but it didn't.
It did not. All right, best score we have Soul, Mank, News of the World, Minari, and I'm looking at my same thing again. Come on, man, I need to get that. And finally, Defy Bloods in a shocker to me, honestly. Did anyone think that when you saw this, I forgot when this was, did any of y'all think that Defy Bloods was going to make an appearance somewhere else? This is the only nomination Defy Bloods got.
Of course.
It's weird.
There's no way I thought it was going to get in the score,
No, it's out of every category. Like, score was not one that I even crossed my mind. Do you remember the score in Defy Bloods?
No.
I thought I could listen to it.
I thought definitely Tenet was going to get in the score. I was shocked that Tenet didn't get in the score. But
Tenet really underperformed.
I guess it just hit people over the head too hard. That Tenet score didn't. It was just too much for people. But
I didn't think the Tenet score was good.
No.
It really wasn't.
All right,
I understand that completely because I know some people who also didn't care for it. I liked it, but I can see why. I also saw it a lot later than people, so my expectations were like super low to the ground, and I'm like, this is gonna be trash. And I'm like, hey, I had a fun time. But no, look out for okay, so Mank has 10 Oscar nominations, and it has a lot of technical things. Do we think at all that Mank picks up something else, or is this just Souls? It's just Soul.
Yeah, I don't think, because I just read it for a while just today, and I'm thinking to myself, I didn't recognize the score. The score didn't resonate with me today when I was rewatching Mank. So I'm thinking, if anything, maybe News of the World could get score, but I think it's Soul. I mean, I would just check that box if I was people out there. But
I'm curious now because James Newton Howard, I don't think he's won a single Oscar. He's been nominated for 9 Academy Awards.
No.
So
that's another one. That's another Diane Warren situation.
True. But the problem I will say with the Diane Warren thing, not the problem, like the thing is that there's no big film this year to overtake and get her. There's no Shallow. There's nothing where it's like, oh, this needs to win this year. It's kind of getting this groundswell. Nothing like that. And that's why I think she could default. However, Soul feel like that's the one score people seem to be talking about. So if like News of the World overtook Soul, that'd be a big thing to talk about.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those ones that I think Soul got this Golden Globe for score, so I definitely think it's going to be one of the Trent Reznor scores for sure, and I think the one that should win is Soul. But I'm actually one of those ones that I do like the score for Mank, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the one that wins.
Either way, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are going to have a good day.
Are they in there twice again for Soul
yes.
and Mank?
Yes, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. I think if like a News of the World passes, it's because Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross split the votes. And that's the only way I can see one of the other ones maybe having a chance at winning.
Yeah, good point, Malcolm.
Although, to take into consideration, they've only been nominated for one other score before, and that was The Social Network, which they won. So either way, their track record's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they've done plenty of other films before, like Gone Girl and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. But again, for Academy Awards, Social Network's the only one that was nominated. But they're looking pretty regardless.
Yeah.
All right. So, best production design, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking at the right one this time instead of the other one. Best production design is as follows. It is The Father, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, News of the World, and Tenet. I took out Tenet and placed The Father, so I guess sort of good in my part, but I still missed one at the very end of the day, so I just picked out the wrong one. How did you guys do on this one?
I got 3.
I got 4 out of 5. I think the one I didn't get was Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I just didn't think that was great production design when you're in a couple of rooms in a building, and it wasn't like this fancy. It wasn't like this fancy stuff all around. It wasn't all these fancy sets or nothing. So I didn't think Ma Rainey was going to get in there, but I got the other 4.
Mhm.
I did like The Father because of when they move from room to room. They're supposedly in different buildings and stuff.
That's what I've heard.
That production, to me, how they made it seamless, going from room to room, place to place, and stuff. It was really amazing because couldn't even tell that they were doing that, and how it worked in The Father. But when you guys see The Father, you'll see that it's very like seamless how they do that. So that to me is
I'm excited.
Amazing
Yeah.
production design. But this is Mank making that movie look like the 1940s Hollywood and all those different places. Yeah, if this Mank doesn't win this, I'll be shocked.
I mean, I didn't have Tenet or The Father on mine. I did predict Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Mhm.
And I thought Mulan or David Copperfield would have got in here, but I was wrong.
David Copperfield had great production design. You're right, Malcolm. I wish that had gotten in.
I honestly thought that, I mean, blockbusters, blockbusters again, air quotes, did not have the best showing this year by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, like, if you talk about traditional blockbuster, what the biggest one being like,
well, it was Wonder Woman, Mulan, and Tenet were the big 3, right?
And yeah, the only big ones I remember coming out last year.
Unless you count like Bad Boy way back in January.
Oh yeah.
And I mean,
man.
I mean, I would actually count Bad Boys. Was that like that was the number 1 movie domestically?
Which is so weird to say.
But yeah.
But I mean, I don't think Wonder Woman 84 had any chance at getting nominated. It really.
No, a lot of people didn't like that as much as I liked it, but a lot of people didn't like it.
I mean, it was fine. I mean, like, it was one of those ones that, if anything, that's another one that I think could have got into visual effects as well, but that wasn't even on the shortlist. So
yeah.
And I will say, I for big blockbuster films, I'm not sure if it was just people didn't see them as much, and maybe because when people see blockbusters, lots of people see them, even the Academy members see them, and they're like, oh, I can vote for here, there, and they didn't have that opportunity. They had to see them just like almost any other film because the theaters were not open in LA or New York, so they couldn't run out to go see them. You had to view it on streaming, and I'm assuming that took away some of the lackluster for it as well too, which is why you didn't see Mulan, nor did you see Tenet do as well as you think they would. But I digress. So we're gonna move right along. I do agree that this seems to be like a very tailor-made for Mank based upon kind of what everything looks like. But if there was another one that could win, could come out of nowhere, what do you guys think that could be? Because I actually think The Father could pull an upset.
Yeah, like I said, The Father has production design that's so seamless because they're going from room to room, building to building, but you can't really tell. When you see the movie, you'll be able to tell, which makes it disorienting for the person, which is trying to make you feel like you have dementia like the main character does. That's the whole point of the movie, is to make you feel disoriented like the main characters. And it's some seamless, and it's just, I mean, some great production design. But I mean, it'd be great. I'd love to see News of the World get it, but I mean, I think it's mixed because of the Hollywood aspect of it all.
Agreed. Plus, if it's going to get anything, I think this is the most likely one for Mank to get.
Yep.
All right. All right. Moving right along to the next one. The next category that we have. Oh no! What did I just do to my? Okay, there it is. The next category on the list is we have best makeup and hairstyling. Now, for this one, last year was the first time we had 5, and this year we definitely had an interesting 5. We have Emma, Hillbilly Elegy, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, and Pinocchio. Now, again, I only predicted Pinocchio because it sounded weird, it sounded strange, and I didn't even know there was a movie called Pinocchio that was out this year until we had talked about it then. Holy cow.
I thought it was the old Pinocchio. I thought it was the old Bernardo, what's his name?
He's in it, though, Benino
Wow.
Benelli.
I thought it was his Pinocchio from like 15 years ago. I didn't know it was a new Pinocchio. So I would have seen it had I known it was a new Pinocchio. I didn't realize it was a new Pinocchio. That was weird.
I mean,
just clicked on seeing Pinocchio and said, "Oh, they brought that old Pinocchio back." I didn't realize it was a new Pinocchio. That kind of just went right over my head, guys. I couldn't believe that.
It's okay. Roberto Benigni, though, is still coming out strong. And apparently he's Geppetto in this one. But, okay, so this one, I think, is going to be an interesting one. This could be where Ma Rainey's Black Bottom shines because that's another that is some good makeup and effects they will have in there. Now, Hillbilly Elegy I find interesting because how they transform Glenn Close, I think, is an incredible, especially with the face and the makeup. And then you have Emma, and then you have Mank, more kind of a classic Hollywood style, Pinocchio as the very kind of almost creature aesthetic. What do you guys see happening? And were you shocked that anything missed that you had predicted?
I mean,
Maybe Copperfield again, but probably not.
I mean, I don't think David Copperfield had a chance of makeup in his on the one. No. I was surprised by Birds of Prey not making it in.
Oh yeah,
that is also showy.
Yeah. Now, Ma Rainey's. This is Ma Rainey's. I'd be shocked if Ma Rainey didn't. Right?
Well, I mean, I was watching a video of someone else talking about the Oscars and that, and they were saying about that they think it could be Hillbilly Elegy because they really do like giving the Oscars to the one with the most makeup. Because I think last year was that the Gary Oldman one that won the Darkest Hour.
That was 3 years ago. What was last year?
Vice, I think.
Bombshell. Bombshell was last year because that was the most prosthetic makeup.
Charlize Theron looks just like Megyn Kelly.
Exactly. It's prosthetics. They love their prosthetics. So you're onto something right there.
Well, look at Viola Davis's character though, and then look at the hair on all the other guys. The old-fashioned timey hair. I don't know.
But no, you're right, Malcolm. Because 3 years ago.
Yeah, last year was Bombshell. The year before was Vice. The year before that was Darkest Hour.
And the year before that was Suicide Squad.
Well, I think it actually won. Suicide Squad won, I believe, for the crocodile guy. What was the
Killer Croc?
His makeup on him was incredible. What they did with Killer Croc was wow. That was amazing to me.
I do agree. But there was something else that was nominated that I was kind of shocked. I think it was more the versatility.
Beyond.
Yes, there was some versatility in like there was more versatility, I feel like, in the makeup in Star Trek Beyond in comparison to Killer Croc, who did look amazing. But also just a very weird, remember, why did we always just have 3? Why?
Yeah, now we have 5 and we don't know what, Yeah.
And it makes more sense to have 5 instead of just 3, being the only category with 3. Anyway, all right, so moving right along to the next one. And again, we all do we see this to be Ma Rainey's Black Bottom with Look Out for Hillbilly Elegy?
Yeah, basically. That's what I got.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So the next one that we have is Best Film Editing, my personal favorite, although last year was a sad day for obvious reasons. We have The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, Trial of the Chicago 7.
I got Trial because of how you had to get all those guys, and every one of them had to have their moments, and the camera had to get them. And so that's a lot of editing, don't you think, guys? Moving the camera and keeping all them guys getting their moment all the time in that courtroom.
I wasn't
splice all that together.
I was about to say the most impressive piece of editing to me is that beginning, because not only did they have to splice together all these different narratives converging in on one, but set up backstory in a very way that didn't feel convoluted, but actually felt fresh, exciting, and like you were being given this information in a way that's just, something that feels enjoyable to watch, not just exposition. And they did a fantastic way, not only with the writing and editing. Those were two things that were married together very well. And I think, if anything, this is the one that Trial of Chicago 7 could absolutely get. Although Sound of Metal, I can also see possibly being the one to pick up, because that is also some other great editing. I had Mank in here, surprisingly, thinking they would love the old Hollywood transitions. But at the end of the day, it was Promising Young Woman, which I think is incredibly deserving, more so personally.
It was because of the stuff at the end, right? Of Promising, how they edited the stuff at the end is why they probably put that in editing.
I guess also at
the end, right?
Yeah, I think also how they managed to tell the different stories together, because you look back, there's all these different sections to Promising Young Woman, and each different way tells a complete story. And maybe how they did that was a way I think was interesting, and I think they might have wanted to reward it that way. But it shows that Promising Young Woman has a lot of love outside of just, has some technical love as well.
A lot of films got 6, and Promising Woman.
A lot had 6. Go ahead, Malcolm.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is one I actually think Promising Young Woman could absolutely win. Like, I thought the editing was fine. Chicago 7, it wasn't amazing. But I thought the editing in Promising Young Woman, and this is one similar to Baby Driver, in which they managed to edit it to the music. There were times in which the music beats came across at the same time as what some of the action was happening on the screen. Just one of those interesting things.
Really?
Good point. Good point.
Double check that. I will say for editing, I think this is a 5 that you can bet on being your top 5 in, like, what do I say? Like, I don't want to say of the year, but these are 5 that you could look out for, possibly doing a lot better than you think they are. Like, The Father had a great showing this last day, and that was evident with the way that it managed to get a lot of love out of almost after BAFTA. And I will say, makeup and hairstyling, one of the only 2 categories where I managed to get 5 for 5. So I managed to go out and live for Pinocchio. So if you ever have a 5 for 5, guys, speak up and tout that one out loud, because that's the ones we're going to celebrate.
Yeah, David Copperfield's in there.
All right. So for the costume design, we have Emma, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Mulan, and surprisingly, I did not have this Pinocchio gets in outside of just makeup and hairstyling, which to me is utterly bizarre. But Pinocchio now has the same amount of nominations as Tenet does. So Malcolm, what do you think in getting this? And did you go for 5 for 5, or did you have Pinocchio at all?
I got 3 out of the 5. I mean, I didn't go Pinocchio. I'm probably kidding myself doing that. I just thought that because we didn't know that it existed, I thought a lot of the Oscars would have forgotten about it.
Same.
It had a better shot at makeup than it did.
Yeah.
So the costumes was kind of a surprising.
But out of what made it in, like, Mulan was a pleasant surprise for costume design. And I was hoping David Copperfield would have got in too, but I think this will be either Emma or Mulan.
Now, I think the other definitely most showy. I will say again, I mean, it could absolutely be Emma, but I think if you have makeup, I could easily see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Chadwick Boseman bringing in for the makeup and for the costumes. I could totally see that transpiring. However, Emma is also the showier costumes, and they love their period pieces. I'm going to do a statistic to try to figure out how many quote unquote period pieces came back and won.
Ma Rainey's the period piece too, the 1920s or 40s.
True. I guess it's the old. They love their specific period piece.
That like old English period piece.
Well, I mean, the other one you could argue is is Mank is also a period piece.
Yeah.
So this is going to be an interesting. But looking back at some of the past winners, like you had Little Woman that won last year, which is you can know as a period piece. Phantom Threads. Fantastic piece, and we had to find them with
True.
costume.
Wow.
Not a period piece, but well, I mean,
No.
I suppose it could be actually.
I guess it's more of the vein of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, that attire, those suits and everything. So you're right. I could totally, absolutely do it.
One year in which period piece was nominated but didn't win was 2015. Do you know what won costume that year?
2015?
Yeah.
2015.
It wasn't. What was nominated that year?
Was
The Danish Girl?
The Danish Girl was nominated but didn't win. Mad Max Fury Road won costume that year.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
That is cool.
That means they will go out of the box and do something different.
They will.
Time. So
watch out for Pinocchio.
You can't put it in the bag for Emma right now. Is basically what you're saying.
No.
Well, I mean, but as you said, this is a one in which you just be all the movies nominated are period piece in some form or another, because like Emma, Mank, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom are period pieces. You could argue that Mulan is also a period piece. It's specific Chinese period of history.
Yeah.
Pinocchio is probably the outlier here, which is not really a period piece. It's a fantasy film.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It is.
So this is one that a period piece is going to win no matter what.
Yeah. There's no contemporary movie getting in here. Right, next one we have is Best Cinematography. Another great one. Another one of my favorite ones. For Best Cinematography, we have as follows: Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, News of the World, Nomadland, and Trial of the Chicago 7. 4 out of the 5 American Society for Cinematographer nominations making it in, which I think usually that's what happens. There's always like 4 to make it in out of the 5. I'm going to double check that, but that is something that usually transpires, I think. Did you guys have, what were the 5 that you had? I actually changed it on my last second, and I put Judas in and took out, I forgot what I took out in particular, but I managed to put I took out Tenet. I took out Tenet actually to put Judas and the Black Messiah in. And so I got 5 for 5 for this one. What did you guys have? Or did you guys have this 5?
I kept Tenet in. I had hopes I was going to make it in. But I did also have Judas in here. I can't remember what I didn't have.
Yeah, I had 5 for 5. I had all the nominees in here because I just felt like they wanted to go for that kind of that 60s film, and they went with both Judas and Chicago 7, which is, if you look at them both, they both look exactly alike. That's the funny part about those two films. They look so similar to one another. They do, because they took place in the same location around the same time.
Okay, so what are the 2 again? You said, what are the 2 that you said?
Chicago 7 and Judas and the Black Messiah.
Okay. I need to look back. I'm pretty sure doesn't Judas and the Black Messiah have like it has some deeper colors to it. I will say that
it has a little bit of grain to it, but so does Chicago 7 have grain to it.
True. I noticed that Judas and the Black Messiah, there's something different. The color palette is different, I will say, than the Trial of the Chicago 7. There's a lot of less bright colors, at least from what I've noticed in comparison, a lot of darker shades. But again, you're absolutely right. There is a grain to both of them to show from the time period that they are. You can cut them both. Can you cut them? What was the time period for Judas and the Black Messiah in comparison to the
60s, late 60s, 69, 67, 69, in that area? They're both around, maybe early 70s. They're both around the same area, and they're both in Chicago. So if you look at the police, you look at the cars, you look at the buildings, they all have a similar aesthetic, and it all kind of looks alike. A lot of it does. That's what's interesting about those two films.
Do you guys think there was anything that could have gotten in, or you think this was a solid 5 that we have?
Yeah, these are the 5. I mean, Tenet was the one. I mean, if anything was going to get in here besides one of the 2 Chicago films, it would have been Tenet. But this is Nomadland's to lose. I mean, Nomadland is, some of the best cinematography. I mean, just gorgeous film. if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. And Malcolm, for you, when you see this 5, is the 5 that you had as well, or like which? I know you said which ones you had, but like tell us a little more about if this 5 you believe to be like a 5 that's solid.
I mean, it's a solid 5. I mean, when it comes to cinematography, I've never been the best judge of that, to be honest.
I will tell you, the Supernova. If you haven't seen Supernova,
Oh yeah.
beautiful cinematography in Supernova, because it's like a trip. It's like a road trip type of movie,
Mm-hmm.
and they're driving through Ireland. Oh my God.
Also, complete congratulations to Sean Bobbitt for being finally an Oscar nominee, because he did 12 Years a Slave and he somehow did not get an Oscar nomination for 12 Years a Slave. I know, weird, right? It should have completely. One of you guys look up real fast what got nominated that year for 2013 when 12 Years a Slave was also there, because now I'm curious as to what can we take out to make sure 12 Years a Slave gets a nomination, because that's also some great cinematography.
Yeah.
Screenplay.
Right. Original screenplay.
All right. So we have the next one we have is best original. Yes, best original screenplay. We have Judas and the Black Messiah, showing strong once again. Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and Trial of the Chicago 7.
This is Sorkin. If this isn't Sorkin, it's definitely Emerald Fennell.
Yes.
Olympic,
Yes.
right?
100%. That's what I agree. And I think WGA, because we're recording this before WGA announces their. Actually, I'm just going to double check to make sure they haven't just announced it, because WGA winners, just to make sure. Nope, not yet. So we have to wait and see exactly what is won. But I think that's actually a solid bet to think about. What about for you, Malcolm?
Yeah, this is one I got 3 out of 5. I was surprised Mank didn't get in, but what did make it in, I think is solid.
Mank gets 10 nominees and it doesn't get into screenplay.
That's telling. That's so
weird.
telling.
Yeah, it's telling, because it tells you right there the one that it really had a shot at winning, potentially winning, it didn't even get into. So does that bode well for the rest of them?
I see Mank as being one where people respect more than adore.
Yeah.
They're like, I respect that film, or I like what you did with there. Let's give you a nomination.
Yeah.
But going back to cinematography, in 2013, the ones that were nominated, you had Gravity, which is Emmanuel Lubezki.
Yes.
The Grandmaster, Philip Lassorde. Inside Llewellyn Davis, Bruno Del Bono. Nebraska, Peden Papamichael, and Prisoners, which is Roger Deakins.
Oh,
wow,
that's actually a great cinematography lineup. Oh boy.
Jesus. Did Gravity ended up winning?
Gravity won that year.
That was great cinematography. But Prisoners, oh my God, what a
That's
great.
another great.
Wow.
That's so good.
What a great year for cinematography.
What an amazing year. All right. So best adapted screenplay. Well, actually, before I move on, I just want to say, like, you're right. I think this Promising Young Woman has 2 shots at getting something, and to me personally, or 2 good shots. It's Carey Mulligan, an actress, and this original screenplay, because this could pull, like, if it gets WGA today, it could pull a Her, and because Her got the ball rolling fast, and it was something that kind of beat the traditional American Hustle that year, because it's the one where people are like, oh, American Hustle is definitely going to get it. It's kind of the more showy thing. It's like Trial of the Chicago 7. But I can see Promising Young Woman pulling that genre film, making it instead. That's just my 2 cents on that matter. All right, best adapted screenplay. This is one that I almost got 5 for 5, but I didn't have this one. I didn't have Borat's subsequent movie film. Not very nice. Not very nice.
I had 3 out of 5 on this one. I didn't have White Tiger, but I was glad to see White Tiger get in.
So glad. Have The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, and The White Tiger, which I'm super happy. There's a really cool statistic I found out, is that there's always a lone nomination for in screenplay from like nothing else. It gets nothing else but screenplay usually. And I'm not sure if it's just why the case that may be, but there's always this one weird film that I managed to get in just for screenplay for the past couple of years, I believe. I need to double check that stat, but I saw it on Twitter from a trusted source, so I'm going to confirm that before I say anything else. That's really, really cool. Malcolm, what about for you? What did you have for these 5?
I got 3 out of 5. The 2 that didn't make it was I thought News of the World and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom would have got nominated here.
Yes.
But this is one that, in watching the nominations, I was impressed that they read the full title for Borat rather than go Borat's movie film.
Priyanka Chopra, what a chore she had. Every time Borat had to come up, she had to read the whole thing.
I mean, I think this one was the longest one because there's so many, and I think, and I actually read something. This actually is a record, broke the record. It's the most number of writers nominated for an Academy Award.
Is it really? Wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there's a lot of writers on that movie.
Wow, that's actually really impressive.
But after reading all of that, she was so happy that the writer of her movie got in there. You could see her face just glowing.
Yeah.
When White Tiger got in there.
Oh, it's another one. It's also broken the record for longest title for a movie nominated for an Oscar.
Really? Wow.
I believe that because that's a very long title.
Cool.
Just for checking so far, just to confirm my stat that I said, last year, Knives Out, only nomination that movie got was in the screenplay category. The year after that, First Reformed, and the First Reformed, only movie to get in that respective category. And the year before that, the Disaster Artist.
Wow.
Only one able to get in for that one. So there's
mine in the future.
So there's one movie that is always able to usually get in. The Lobster, the year before that. There's always one. Isn't it crazy to think about that?
That's crazy.
And it's always only usually in one. I'm not exactly sure which one it is though. You have to play that by ear.
But yeah,
right?
Yes, usually.
But yeah, Borat has set the record for most writers credited on a screenplay nominated for an Oscar. The previous one was 7, which was held by Toy Story.
Oh, what about for the longest title? What do you think? What was the previous record holder for that?
Birdman, maybe.
Assassinations by the coward Robert Ford. Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
I think it's time for us to do some investigation later. And then you keep going back and you'll have, it's like, there's just so many.
I got to remember that in the future, Manning, that
I need to
movie gets in the screenplay, one of the screenplays and that's the only thing it gets. So I have to keep that in mind in the future.
I'm going to double check that because I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure how far back it goes because I'm looking back right now and I think that stat stops like at 2014 with Inherent Vice, because Inherent Vice got that and costume design nominations, so they got 2. So either way, there's gonna be something that's not gonna be as it's not gonna be as big, if that makes any sense. Something that's not gonna get a lot of nominations. But keep a lookout for that statistic. I'm gonna go continue to check that out, but not right now. Oh wait, Nightcrawler came out that same year. Dan Gilroy, only nomination that it got.
Oh my God, that's
so it's still going. The stat's still going.
Jake Gyllenhaal got robbed that year. I mean, that was ridiculous. Jake Gyllenhaal didn't get in. How did Jake Gyllenhaal not get in that year? That
was a stacked year for male actors, though.
Yeah.
You had Eddie Redmayne, Steve Carell, Bradley Cooper, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Michael Keaton all making it in, with other people like David Oyelowo and Jake Gyllenhaal both on the outside looking in. That's crazy to think about.
That's why I've been saying for years now they need to bump this thing up to 6 at least. At least all the acting categories and director up to 6.
They've finally gone up to 10 for starting next year. They're going up to 10 finally, so maybe they'll finally go up some in some other way. But anyway, that's enough for adapted screenplay. Moving right along. Next one we have is Best Supporting Actor, which, oh boy, guys, this was a doozy to begin with. We had Sacha Baron Cohen, Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya, Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr., One Night in Miami, Paul Raci, Sound of Metal, and Jared Leto. No, I'm kidding. And Lakeith Stanfield, Judas and the Black Messiah. Holy cow! I don't. If anyone had him predicted in supporting, please let me know what you're doing.
Did we completely go into this? Okay, this is what happened. Okay. In the Globes and some of these other award shows, you have to put down a person in a specific category.
Yes.
In the Academy Awards, you can suggest, okay, this movie, the people that run the movie, the producers, the people that put in for okay, this guy's in this guy's in that. You suggest it to the Academy. There isn't a specific category that you have to say this person is on there, this person is on there. So the Academy picked Lakeith Stanfield and wrote him in supporting, basically saying that this movie was a shared movie by these two guys. Neither one of them was the lead guy in the movie. Daniel Kaluuya split halfway. Lakeith Stanfield split halfway. So they wanted people to know, in their opinion, the majority of the people that voted, that nobody was the lead in this film, that they split this film right down the middle, and they were both supporting. And that's why, in their eyes, they put Lakeith Stanfield in supporting. Now, Malcolm, I'm sure you have something else to say.
Well, I mean, the other thing that I was thinking about with this one is they probably might have thought, it's like, well, I don't think Lakeith has much of a chance in the best actor race, but we want him to get a nomination, so we'll put him in supporting. So it's one of those ones. Look, in some of these movies, it's really hard to determine who actually is the lead and who isn't.
Christian Bale wins for the best supporting actor, and a lot of people said he is equally the lead of The Fighter as he was supporting in The Fighter. And Anthony Hopkins he wins for best actor, and he's got like 20 minutes of screen time, if that.
Yeah, if that.
The Lambs, so it's a little bit wonky, but that's also telling you hit the nail on the head there, Malcolm. That's also telling me how much the Academy loved Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes,
they wanted to get both of them guys in there, and that film has got a lot of nominations, which is showing that they did like this movie.
6 nominations, like Trial of Chicago 7, Sound of Metal, Nomadland, Minari, Judas and the Black Messiah, and The Father all had 6. Margaine's Black Bottom, Promising Young Woman with 5 respectively. Like, that's just like, to me, that is insane, truthfully, to think that Judas and the Black Messiah had so much momentum at the last little bit that they were able to get Lakeith Stanfield, which, again, if you had that predicted, tell me, how did you do it? Please tell me, how did you predict that? Because I have a hard time believing who had him in supporting predicted wise.
Well, I was watching at the Gold Derby guys, all their slugfests, and nobody had him in that category. So that's how none of them could have ever predicted. They were like, you couldn't have predicted it because there was nothing that you could have predicted unless you just decided you liked him and you put him in there. Because he didn't even, when you could pick people for the category, you couldn't even pick him for best supporting. So
they had to write him in. Yeah, it's crazy. Yes, Malcolm?
100%. If you would have picked everyone right, you still wouldn't have gotten Lakeith Stanfield because you wouldn't have been able to pick him for that category. But this being said, it's Daniel Kaluuya, maybe Paul Raci.
That'd be nice. Malcolm?
I mean, this is one that I wouldn't be surprised if, yes, Daniel Kaluuya's got the momentum, but I wouldn't be surprised if Lakeith pulls it out and takes the win here. But the one I was surprised that Chadwick Boseman missed here personally.
Well, okay. This goes back to James Dean, Malcolm. James Dean is the last person to get 2 nominations for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor posthumously, and he didn't win either one of them. So it's a long way to get someone not only 2 nominations, but 2 nominations posthumously. I think they wanted to share the love and supporting and get somebody else in there.
And I think people forgot about Da 5 Bloods, as we've seen.
Yeah, well, it's that damn red hat.
I think also the fact is like they put it out way too soon as well too. Like they came out in July or something, right?
Yeah, it was about the time when the Black Lives Matter movement kind of had its stride. And this is one that I know I've been arguing with people about this before. Is like there's people like, oh, but it was one of the people still remembered it by talking about when they were doing the predictions, but like it's one of those ones that but I think when the Five Bloods came out, at that point, the Oscars hadn't extended the eligibility window. So I think had they not had the eligibility window ended at the same time that it would have, I think the Five Bloods might have got in a bit more.
Yep.
Because some of the other things that came out later,
Yeah, no Judas.
might not have had the chance because I think Judas was supposed to come out this year, wasn't it? Or was it?
Yeah.
Yep. Judas.
They pushed that back.
But somebody said one of the guys on another awards show said they would have given it a December 25th or December 31st release just to get it in there.
Probably. It gave them more time. This one, it gave them more time to put it together, probably, to put the last finishing touches they needed to on it to build that momentum. But it got the right momentum at the right time. And maybe if they put it out December 31st, they would still have that momentum. But you're right, Malcolm. I feel like The Five Bloods, if it had come out, if we hadn't moved everything by 2 months, it might have had a little more momentum and love. Although, because maybe Delroy might have gotten in. It might have gotten into SAG. He might have gotten into Golden Globe, something. Well, maybe not Golden Globes. Golden Globes are their own thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think he still would have made it into Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Say the Golden Globes have their own thing going on. They did not seem to love The Five Bloods as much as. But you're right. They might have if there was no I don't know, One Night in Miami or something, or if there was no something along the lines, that might have been the case, or if there was no Sound of Metal. Sound of Metal didn't do good at the Golden Globes anyway, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, a lot. Really, the only film that you could really say that didn't come out in 2020 was Judas and the Black Messiah. So that's 6 nominations, especially 2 in Best Supporting Actor. You're telling me right now that Chadwick Boseman wouldn't have gotten one of them?
No, I think after that, that's definitely a possibility.
You know what I mean?
But Best Supporting Actress time. Now, this is one that I'm also curious if anyone had 5 for 5 on this one, because I know I did not.
No, you convinced me to change, Manning.
I sure did, and I'd bombed myself and took other people down with me. We have Maria Bakalova, Borat's subsequent movie film, Glenn Close, Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman, The Father, Men Deciphered, Mank, and Yoon Yoo-jung, Minari. We'll call her YJ.
Yes. But yeah, fun fact, Glenn Close is one of 3 actors/actresses that are nominated for the Oscar and the Golden Raspberry Award for the same movie.
She's going to win both.
Wow, that is a bold statement, Dan. Okay, so tell us.
I'm calling it. She wins both. Yep.
Would that be a first? Do you think, have they won, Malcolm? And do you think for the past 20 years for the stats, have they won both? Have they won either in this past stat, or just nomination wise?
Wasn't it Halle Berry? Was it Halle Berry, Malcolm? No? Or Charlize Theron?
No, not for the same movie.
2 different movies, but nominated for both. Yeah.
Yeah, but the stat I'm talking about is she's one of 3 that have been nominated for the same movie in both the Oscars and the Razzies. The other one was James Coco for some. Once I get that, for Only When I Laugh, and he didn't win either of them. And Amy Irving is the other one.
for Yentl or
Gentle, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Just bringing her up now, see if she's actually won.
How does that feel to know that you got nominated for both the worst and the best of the year? Subjectivity.
I'd be shocked if honestly. I mean, you has a legitimate shot at this, but I think this is. I think people forget what happened 2 years ago with Olivia Colman. I mean, it's only 2 years ago, but you forget this will be her 8th Academy Award nomination without winning it. They're giving it to her, even though the movie wasn't received very well. If you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score from people, just average people like us, and then critics, I'm a critic. I actually gave it a positive review, but there's a separation there. Critics gave it a bad review, but average regular people gave it a much better review. I think it's somewhere in the 70s for regular people review. Look
So
that
it's
up.
still well loved.
Yeah, by normal people, regular people. They like it. It's just film critics are the ones that had a problem with it, which gave it a bad review. I think she wins. I feel like by the time this award is handed out, there's going to be such a groundswell to finally get Glenn Close her Academy Award. And you got to keep going back. I mean, it's ridiculous, but you got to keep going back. Paul Newman, Al Pacino. I mean, Humphrey Bogart. I mean, it goes back so far of people winning awards for movies that they shouldn't have won for. I mean,
Yep.
Scorsese. I mean, the list is a mile long. So
my favorite one to say to people is Jimmy Stewart, who won for The Philadelphia Story when he should have won for the year before that for Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, because his performance in Philadelphia Story is nothing spectacular by any stretch of the imagination.
Or It's a Wonderful Life.
And this is when you're right, and that could absolutely happen. I have not seen Hillbilly Elegy. I avoided it when I saw the initial negative reviews, but I'm gonna have to check it out. Obviously, by the time this is all over, over the Oscars this year.
Man,
yes, I heard that.
The movie, and she's not overacting. Maybe you could say Amy Adams is overacting a little bit, but I don't think it's overacting. I think she's just great. I think she's fantastic. That's just my opinion. I gave the movie and I gave her performance. I mean, a good review in that movie. But look, I don't know. Malcolm, did you have anything to say about that?
Nothing much really. This is one that that I wouldn't be too surprised if she doesn't win supporting here, because like this is one that I could go to anyone, to be honest.
It can.
And I think Maria Bakalova, I think, is one that I think could steal this away. Well, yes, the precedent for winning an Oscar for career is there. I think I do think this is not the year Glenn Close wins. I think if she makes any more movies, I think that someone will put her here. But this is one of those years that anything can happen because in a lot of these categories, some of the nominations are strong, but also anything can happen.
No, this is the perfect representation of the category where anything can happen, because we don't have a front runner for this one. The closest thing you can say to a front runner is probably Maria Bakalova, only because she has all the nominations from the different places, from critics, from SAG, from BAFTA, from the Academy Awards. She's the one who has that, but she lost the Golden Globe to someone who's not even nominated. So then the question now arises, how much love will she have in the guilds? Or will people see Glenn Close is right there and give it her? Or will they see Minari and be like, we want to give it something, what can we give it? Or will they see Mank and will be like, let's give it something else besides maybe production design? Or will they see The Father and be like, let's give Olivia Colman another Oscar so that Glenn Close can be sad? I don't think that's going to happen. That one's not going to happen, but...
I mean, there'll be a story of Olivia Colman beating Glenn Close twice.
I'm telling you right now, guys, if Olivia Colman wins this thing, She literally walks wherever she can walk. If they're in the same room somewhere, she walks up to Glenn Close and hands it to her. I put money
Just
on
take it. She'll tell her to take it, and she just Olivia Colman just runs away. Like, I'm not dealing with this.
There you go.
I mean, looking at the nominations for worst supporting actress at the Razzies, I don't know if Glenn Close is the worst in that.
Oh, tell me. What is nominated?
So we've got Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Lucy Hale for Fantasy Island, Maggie Q for Fantasy Island, Kristen Wiig for Wonder Woman 84, and Maddie Ziegler for music.
Not
Wow.
Kristen Wiig. Oh no, I like Kristen Wiig in Wonder Woman 84.
Listen, the Razzies at this point are just shock value at this point to me. They have no bearing whatsoever.
Yeah, Glenn Close.
No.
If Glenn Close wins that, that's awful because she's not the worst. It's going to be the girl from music, probably.
All right, so putting it up. Go ahead, Malcolm.
No, I was about to say I definitely think it will be Maddie Ziegler.
That, or I think you could see maybe they'll be like, we're going to give it to both people from Fantasy Island just because we can. All right, so quickly, we're going to do it right now, and then we're going to ask again when we have our final predictions. Who is winning Best Supporting Actress? Dan, go.
Glenn Close.
Malcolm, who is winning Best Supporting Actress? Go.
Maria Bakalova.
Good pick.
And I think Yoon Jung will be winning.
Oh, wow.
So, but again, this could all change when we have SAG and BAFTA.
We should all do a bet. Do you guys have Cash App on your phone? We should do Cash App.
I do not have Cash App with me, but I'm not sure what they have in New Zealand. But we should try to figure out exactly. Although the question is, let's wait and see what happens with SAG. And then we're like, oh, this is going to be super easy. It's not going to be fair to the person who picks Maria Bakalova, Malcolm. And then next thing you know, she steamrolls. So we're going to wait and see about that.
Yeah.
All right. But no, that's a good idea, Dan. That'd be fun. All right. So Best Actress. We're almost there, guys. Best Actress. Viola Davis, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Andra Day, The United States versus Billie Holiday. Vanessa Kirby, Pieces of a Woman. Frances McDormand, Nomadland. Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman. So happy, breathe a sigh of relief when Promising Young Woman made it in there for Carey Mulligan.
I think she's got it in the bag. I really do believe she's got it, and it's her turn. I mean, you say these years when it's somebody's turn, like Leo's year, it was his turn. It's Carey Mulligan's turn. I don't think Frances is third. And I hate to say it, Viola's already got one. Andra Day with a great performance. They're not going to give it to her. And Vanessa Kirby, that movie's been losing steam left and right since it came out on Netflix on January 5th or 7th or whatever. This is Carey Mulligan. I'd be shocked if she didn't win this.
I mean, what I was about to say, I think the one that could prove a legitimate fit, because I do want Carey Mulligan to win this. Andra Day is probably the one to look out for, because she did come out of nowhere for the Golden Globes, and she's the only one of the two Golden Globe winners that actually made it into this category. Rosamund Pike was left out.
Yeah, but you always got to remember this, Malcolm, and you can prove me wrong if I'm wrong. Hey, the musical and comedy category is kind of like a stepbrother category to the best actress and best actor. It's like they have that, but usually, Rami Malek won. He should never have freaking won.
He did win.
That was awful.
I disagree.
So I just feel like they're not even going to think of her to win. That's just me.
Andra Day wasn't in musical comedy. She was in drama.
Really?
Look, it's Rosamund Pike won.
Rosamund Pike was comedy.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right.
Well, she didn't get to make it in. I will say, Andra Day does not have. She's only nominated this. She doesn't have SAG. Doesn't have BAFTA. She didn't have the ability to make that powerful, impacting speech that people will be like, "Oh yeah, let me go watch that movie." The movie that's only nominated for one other Oscar, and that is her. And she's not steamrolling anything just yet. However, let's say, for instance, that Carey Mulligan wins SAG, but for BAFTA, since she's not nominated there, let's say that Frances McDormand wins or Vanessa Kirby wins. Who wins BAFTA? Unless someone who's like from Rocks or something wins it. And then you have something that can be completely up in the air and you're wondering who in the world is going to win this thing? Because I have absolutely no idea. It could be exciting for all we know. And this is going to be like supporting actress, not as intense, but we could see something like that happen where it could be someone here, someone there, someone anywhere, and have our nails biting to the last day.
I hope not. I need some easy picks on my ballot.
And this is where best actor comes into play, which is a lot to me easier to predict than best actress. Best actor is Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins, The Father, Gary Oldman, Mank, and Stephen Yeun, Minari. I believe that Chadwick.
I got 5 out of 5.
No.
Yes, I'm glad you did.
Record, but somebody convinced me to change.
I wonder who that is. All right.
So I lost. I didn't put Gary Oldman, who I had on my ballot the entire time up until
the last day.
I had him.
Hey, well, if any consolation, I missed it too. But I think this is Chadwick Boseman with the spoiler chance being Anthony Hopkins. If Anthony Hopkins is the winner for SAG and or BAFTA.
Yeah.
I only say that because Anthony Hopkins has never won a SAG. Has never won an actor. Mainly because Silence of the Lambs came out before SAG was ever created. So he could, in fact, win it, but I can also see them, and then I could see them being like, we're going to give supporting actor to Chadwick Boseman, throwing everything into disarray. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm more actually confident out of anything that this is going to be Chadwick Boseman, but watch out for Anthony Hopkins.
Can I just chime in here real quick?
Yes.
Here? Oh, look, I think Chadwick Boseman is fantastic. I love him in the movie. He's so just fantastic. I just feel like when people start seeing The Father, they're going to realize how amazing Anthony Hopkins is and how he puts you, how the director and everybody puts you into this situation where you're confused and you feel like you have dementia in this movie, and how amazing Anthony Hopkins is at making you feel disoriented. And that is something that you can't explain to people until you see the movie, until you see the performance of Anthony Hopkins. The guy is amazing. I mean, amazing. This might be the best performance of his entire career. I just can't say enough about Anthony Hopkins. And I really, this is one where I'm really on the fence whether I'm going to take Chadwick Boseman or Anthony Hopkins on my ballot, because I really think Anthony Hopkins is the best performance of the year. I really do believe that.
Yeah, I mean, this is when I'm actually going to use what Dan said earlier against him. Anthony Hopkins has an Oscar.
I know that.
This is Chadwick Boseman's last chance, only chance he's got to win an Oscar. So I think, I mean, as much as I hate sort of predicting the posthumous Oscar wins, I do think Chadwick Boseman will win.
No, you're probably right, Malcolm. And there's a huge percentage that he's going to win this. He's going to win. His wife's going to get up there and say this amazing speech about him.
And that's the other thing. I think he's going to win. That speech she gave at the Golden Globes.
That was very good.
They're going to want to see that repeated again on the Oscar stage.
And I can truly see, like, for instance, let's say that Anthony Hopkins wins SAG and then BAFTA comes to Chadwick Boseman or something. They were thinking, oh no, and then he wins. You know, I can see there being a split. I could see Boseman walking away with it. We won't know until the actual time comes. But I had Mads Mikkelsen in here thinking, in this my vain glory, that they would go with, you know, another round somewhere else in another category besides just international feature film. But they did, which brings me to Best Director. Best Director, Lee Isaac Chung, Minari, Emerald Fennell, Promising Young Woman, David Fincher, Mank, Chloe Zhao, Nomadland, and Thomas Vinterberg, Another Round. I picked the wrong category, and Aaron Sorkin misses out. Shocker of the night. Were you guys as shocked as I was? Because part of me was like, I saw this coming. I saw it coming, but I was too chicken to pull the trigger. Malcolm, what are your thoughts?
I saw it coming. I didn't take him out of my gold derby. I still had him in there just in case I was going to be wrong. But I think I said on the nomination. So I think if he gets nominated for screenplay, then I don't think he's going to be nominated for director. But this is like when it comes to Sorkin, he's one of those ones that can write an amazing script, but his directing isn't really there.
It's not as showy as his counterparts, I
Yeah.
will say.
Because it's mostly set in one place, so there's not a lot of room for direction except for like moving cameras and stuff like that.
I mean, I think he's shown when he's showing he can do both incredibly well, and I think this was a time where the directing branch, and this is a stat that I tweeted out, or that Abe brought up, and I asked him about when he predicted or he mentioned the fact that Aaron Sorkin could miss. Aaron Sorkin is a writer first. He is known as a writer, and I'm sure the directing category was like, "Thanks, Aaron, not this time." And this is the second time that another foreign film has made it into the best director when after it got the BAFTA director, and that was Cold War for Powell Pawlowski, for Powell Pawlowski, for Cold War, and that managed to make it in out of nowhere for best director. The same thing has happened for another round for Thomas Vinterberg. So watch out for European directors coming in out of nowhere with their film if they get nominated for BAFTA for best directing, making it in. Yes, Dan.
Well, but they've been doing this now, going back a decade. If you look at the director category, the Mexican directors have been cleaning up with nominations. Paul Pawlowski got in for Cold War. Now Vinterberg, he's Danish. What's his name for Parasite? So these guys, Bong Joon-ho, they've been putting foreign directors into the best director category every year. At least one have been foreign, and sometimes two, and it's just been a revolving thing with the director category because it's such a broad category of people from all over the world. It is. The directors are they're coming from all over the place, So they don't always want a bunch of American directors. They want to spread the love and get some foreign directors in there.
Yeah, but just to bounce off that for a second, like you brought out the Mexican directors, like most of their movies were still produced by American film companies in English language. I think what Manning was talking about is the directors that are nominated in the foreign film category, and it's in foreign language as well. So getting those in there is rare.
The last 2 years was Parasite and
then Cold War. Which go ahead, Malcolm.
Yeah, though I was about to get that. It was really rare that would happen until very recently.
And I think that is a testament to the fact that they are expanding to allow more foreign filmmakers into the academy. This is what happens when you have the expansion and diversity that they have had. They have had a larger breadth of people come around and kind of just talk, or not talk, vote, and you've seen their picks somehow make it in. Why is it just best director? I don't know, but the directing category managed to get this as their nominations, and they managed to get Thomas Vinterberg in, and they saw that to be the fit, to be the one they wanted to get in. So watch out if something from BAFTA, foreign language film, gets a BAFTA directing nomination. Watch out.
Yeah. Also, another fun fact is this is the first year in which you've got 2 actors of Asian descent nominated in the same year.
Yeah, wow, you're right. This is the first time Lee Isaac Chung and Chloe Zhao managed to both make it in over there, with 2 women as well making it in. This is a very good, diverse. Again, no Regina King, no Aaron Sorkin, no
2 women, 2 Asian descent.
Mm-hmm.
You got a foreign film,
no Shaka King,
director. But David Fincher, what's this, his 3rd or 4th time?
Yeah, I mean, it's also the first time you've had 2 females nominated in directing.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
I'm finding right now for Oscar nominations, we're about to find out right now. He has been nominated 3 times. I feel like it's been a lot more for some reason.
Yeah, some of the films you think he'd get nominated for, he wasn't nominated for. Did he get in for 7? See, to me, that was an achievement in direction.
Only The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which one of my girlfriend's favorite movies, The Social Network, one of my favorite movies, and Mank. So
Yeah.
only 3. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so that is for Best Director. And finally, the last one. Are you guys ready for Best Picture? All right. Best Picture is as follows: The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and Trial of the Chicago 7. No One Night in Miami, which is a big shocker. No Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and instead you have stuff like Sound of Metal and The Father getting in on that last big little push that they needed to overtake some of the ones that have been around for a little bit longer. Dan, what are your thoughts on this 8, not 9, as I know you had hoped?
I missed it by 1. I did miss it, and I didn't have The Father in there. I had all of the others in there except for The Father, and I had News of the World in there instead of or maybe I had Ma Rainey's Black Bottom as my number. Maybe News of the World or Ma Rainey. So whatever it was, I flipped those, and The Father was in it. But I had all the other ones. I had the other 7. So this is Nomadland. Like director, I mean, this is going to be if this doesn't end up with Chloe Zhao winning 2 Academy Awards. Something's wrong, if you ask me. But what do I know? I've seen all these films, so these are the ones that I would pick. I'd pick Chloe Zhao for director and Nomadland for best picture.
Mm-hmm. So Malcolm, when you saw these, what were your first thoughts that came into mind, and what did you have for? I know you had Borat, but that was not going to be a 10 if it was going to be 10. But tell me, what else did you have for this possible 8?
I mean, the ones I had that didn't get nominated was Ma Rainey's and something else. One Night in Miami.
I think that was the one that people thought. Go ahead.
All the others I had in there that I thought would make it in. So.
And I think that was kind of the prevailing thought, is what I was going to say, is that you had One Night in Miami, which is kind of writing. People thought that was going to do a lot better because, but I guess when the Golden Globes didn't love it as much as, I guess everyone perceived it to be, but it also got a SAG. So it's really interesting to know that 3 films that got SAG did not get a Best Picture nomination, which is not a great statistic, truly.
And I think that one of the things is, if you look at the movies based on plays, the one that seemed to win out in people's mind was The Father, more so than Ma Rainey and One Night in Miami. They obviously, people thought that was much more effective film based on a play than or how the production ended up as a film than rather the play. So that's how Ma Rainey and One Night in Miami failed in that respect. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And so, for you guys, for this 8, if there was a 9, what do you think that ninth one would be?
I'd like to see it News of the World, because there's nothing like News of the World in the batch of films that were being considered for all these awards. There's no westerns, and it was something different. It has one of the biggest actors in the face of the planet, Tom Hanks, and he was the face of COVID and all this stuff. That would have been kind of a good story to get Tom Hanks in there, but I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know. I mean, if you wanted to get Tom Hanks in there, I would have liked to see Borat get nominated that night, because Tom Hanks was in Borat as well. And it's like, and I honestly believe Borat was close to getting into that thing, especially with them popping up sort of in screenplay and supporting actress. So.
Mm-hmm. No, and yeah, he did make it. That's actually really funny. He had that one little cameo. I think that if you had anything, the one that most likely was to get in from all of this, looking at these nominations, I think that One Night in Miami, possibly, because that has the screenplay nomination and an supporting actor nomination for it to get in. I guess it just wasn't as high up in people's list as we thought it was going to be.
Ma
But
Rainey had 2 Oscar acting category.
oh, you're right. That's true.
And makeup and hairstyling.
That's true. That's true. I could totally do that as well. I was just thinking because along those lines, I know the screenplay. If missed it on the screenplay, it could be either one of those. And truthfully, I guess the buzz went around One Night in Miami just wasn't as strong as we thought it was. All right. So, which best pick? What's going to take it right now? Obviously, this is not your final prediction. What's taking it right now, Dan?
Oh, I mean, this is Nomadland all the way, right there, Nomadland. You see it behind me.
We see it right there.
Because
boom, boom.
I mean, the people listening to this can't see it.
Oh,
but-
and the Nomadland poster behind him for those who don't.
Good point, Matt. But think about the whole year as a whole, man. How prophetic is it that this movie came out this year about this woman who's struggling? Her company went, her town went, basically vanished. She started driving around looking for work at Amazon and all these different places in her van, and she find all these people living in the desert. It's so like reminiscent of something that would have happened this year. You know what I mean? And I just think it's the movie America needed to see, and it's the American need. It's the year that we needed to have this movie. You know, I don't. There's a saying that somebody sometimes always they say that the awards, when the Academy Awards come out, the various awards, and then the movies that win various years, the movie that needed to win that particular year was the movie that won that particular year. And you go back and you're like, oh yeah, that movie, that year that came out, what was going on in society at that time. And I think Nomadland was the movie that should be winning this particular year based on the things that have gone on in the year and so forth. And I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it.
And Malcolm, which one's winning?
I think that Nomadland's got the momentum, but I wouldn't be surprised if something else ends up winning if Closeout wins director, because it yes, it happened last year with Bong Joon-ho and Parasite, but it's not often that the winner of Best Picture is the same as the director. So, so whether that falls into the recent trend of them both the same movie getting both picture and director, or it's going to be a different one in each. So,
I mean, for recently, you're right. That split is statistically speaking, the split is a lot more likely to happen. We will wait and see exactly what starts to build momentum, and if maybe because obviously Nomadland does not have SAG, but that statistic doesn't really hold much water anymore. Once I think The Shape of Water missed out on SAG and still won regardless the Oscar for Best Picture. And for me, I do think it is also Nomadland, but watch out as we continue to move along on this year, because oh man, it can change any second. Not anything could change, and not only in this year, but also in exactly who's going to win, because we still have about a month or so to go. So that's it. Thank you guys for listening or watching this episode. Either one, whichever you're doing, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to it on the Apple Podcast or Spotify or however Anchor is giving this to you. All right, we're going to wrap this up now because I know that we possibly have a stream we got to go to at 5:30. Maybe. We don't know yet. We're going to find out. If you're listening to this already, stream has already happened. If not, it's going to happen next week. You'll find out for Take 3 Productions as we do a 1-year anniversary. Or a 1,000 subscriber anniversary for Take 3 Productions. But that's neither here nor there. Dan, where can the people find you?
You can find me at disappointmentmedia.com, where I am a film critic for in the Central Florida, Orlando area, or on my blog where I write also from the fourth row at wordpress.com. So anything that I have written in the last years, recent years, will be found in those two places. So also I do a couple of YouTube shows called the Top 5 Weekly, where myself and guests discuss the topic. I'm doing an entire 4-part Academy Awards grouping of episodes, so those will be coming out soon. Also, I do a show called Bleacher Features, where myself and a guest discuss a sports movie, and that's a summer series. So starting in the summer, I'll be having episodes of that. Also, just if you want to look for me on social media, I'm under Dan Scabell on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest.
And Malcolm, where can they find you?
You can find me on Tape Through Productions, where I host Rankin every Saturday night. Next week's topic is going to be top 12 action movies of the 2010s. You can also find me hosting a Reactors Summit on Mondays, but there'll potentially be one tomorrow. I'm not too sure. Same with late night. There may be one happening at some stage. You could also find me over on Formula, where I host trivia matches. And yeah.
And you can find me, of course, hosting here, Gone with the Wind. Also, my YouTube channel, Manning Franks, where I do video essays and the like, as well as just kind of talking, which I'll be able to hopefully do a little bit down the road. Have something else planned in mind. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Cine_man. That's CINE_MANN, as well as this coming week, we are going to start opening up. As I'm going to put this at the beginning, so you've already heard this. I'm going to pre-record this a little later, but you've already heard this. The Gone with the Wind awards for this year are officially transpiring. I've gotten the entire thing already created, so we're going to surprise you all later. So hopefully, when this drops, so does the ability to nominate. So I'm telling this to these guys, so they're hearing it right now. So get your picks ready, get ready, so we can find out what's the best of this weird year that we have so far. Thank you guys for watching. I am your host, Manning, once again. Thank you for listening to Gone with the Wind. Cue the music. The outro music, not the intro one.